It's time to play the game show that's sweeping America. Democratic Super Tuesday. Hey, let's meet our contestants. With the lead and everything to lose, it's Bernie the Commissar Sanders, your friendly neighborhood communist.
I think it's also fair to point out that when we were in Moscow, for example, I think most of the people here also were extremely impressed by their public transportation system. The stations themselves were absolutely beautiful, including many works of art, chandeliers that were beautiful. It was a very, very effective system. Also, I was impressed by the youth programs that they have, their palaces of culture for the young people, a whole variety of programs for young people, and cultural programs which go far beyond what we do in this country.
A one-time Brooklyn native, now representative for the state of Vermont, Bernie Sanders wants to introduce America to something that he calls democratic socialism. We just call it communism. You know why? Because that's exactly what it is. He wants your guns, he wants your freedoms, and in exchange, he's going to take away your right to choose, well, just about everything. Why? Because, hey, his other pal, Fidel Castro, look at what he's done. He's improved the reading skills of the illiterates on the island of Cuba. And that's exactly what Bernie Sanders espoused to do for America. Because, hey, you can say nice things even about a totalitarian government, especially if they've made progress in areas like education. So, we can compliment Fidel Castro even though the country lives in squalor, poverty, hardship. There's no incentive. There's no reason to ever try to better yourself. The so-called free clinics that they have look like veterinary hospitals, but hey, they can read. They can read about all the laws they need to follow. And hey, you gotta give a compliment where a compliment is due, right? I mean, after all, Hitler gave us the Volkswagen, so we even need to say nice things about him too. Right, Bernie?
I'm hearing my name mentioned a little bit tonight. I wonder why. I have opposed authoritarianism all over the world. What I said is what Barack Obama said in terms of Cuba, that Cuba made progress on education. Yes, I think, really? Really?
Let's meet our next contestant. Hey, she's been a doctor, a lawyer, an Indian chief. Yes, we're talking about from the state of Massachusetts, Elizabeth Warren, the Pocahontas fake Indian, who apparently can't even remember how or why she left education to go into law.
And then graduated from college, actually, after I'd married. And my first year post graduation, I worked, it was in a public school system, but I worked with the children with disabilities. And I did that for a year. And then that summer, I actually didn't have the education courses, so I was on an emergency certificate, it was called. And I went back to graduate school and took a couple of courses in education and said, I don't think this is going to work out for me. And I was pregnant with my first baby. So I had a baby and stayed home for a couple of years. And I was really casting about, thinking, what am I going to do? And my husband's view of it was, stay home. We have children, we'll have more children. I went back home to Oklahoma for Christmas and saw a bunch of the boys that I'd been in high school debate with. And they'd all gone on to law school. And they said, you should go to law school. You'll love it. And I said, really think so? And they said, of all of us who should have gone to law school, you're the one who should have gone to law school. So I took the tests, applied to law school, and the day my daughter, who later became my co-author, turned 2 on her second birthday, I started law school.
Now, out on the campaign trail in 2019, she tells that same story just a little bit different.
So my first teaching position was as a special needs teacher. I loved that job. But by the end of the first school year, I was quite visibly pregnant, and the principal didn't invite me back for the next school year. So I found myself at home with a baby, and yep, those were the days. And I got this idea that I could go to law school.
Some people might call that lying. We just call it selective memory. But that's Elizabeth Warren, and now she wants to be in the Oval Office. But hey, if you're not happy with our first two contestants, get ready, get excited. Here he comes, the man that everyone loves to hate, the few that actually know who he is. Everybody else is like, Mike, who? Mike, the condescending, arrogant, you owe me, billionaire, Bloomberg.
Some people say, well, taxes are regressive, but in this case, yes, they are. That's the good thing about them, because the problem is in people that don't have a lot of money. And so higher taxes should have a bigger impact on their behavior and how they deal with themselves. So I listen to people saying, oh, we don't want to tax the poor. Well, we want the poor to live longer so that they can get an education and enjoy life. And that's why you do want to do exactly what a lot of people say you don't want to do. The question is, do you want to pander to those people, or do you want to get them to live longer? And there's just no question. If you raise taxes on full sugary drinks, for example, they will drink less, and there's just no question that full sugar drinks are one of the major contributors to obesity, and obesity is one of the major contributors to heart disease and cancer and a variety of other things.
And we've saved the best contestant for last, former VP, the guy who you never know what he's going to say, and he doesn't either, never knows where he is, and he's really having trouble being coherent, but hey, he is ready to be commander-in-chief and take out popcorn and Pop-Tart and anybody else that wants to mess with America. We're talking about the one, the only, Joe Dementia Biden.
Joe Biden, he's the man with the Biden touch, a creepy touch.
And by the way, you know, I sit on the stand, and it get hot. I got hairy legs that turn turn blonde in the sun. And the kids used to come up and reach in the pool and rub my leg down so it was straight, and then watch the hair come back up again. They'd look at it. So I learned about roaches. I learned about kids jumping on my lap. And I've loved kids jumping on my lap.
Hey, don't worry about facts. He just makes them up. It's okay.
No, not judgment, but details. Because that's something I've heard from some voters, maybe not at your events, but details.
No, but the details are irrelevant in terms of decision making.
So this is what the Democrats are giving as a choice. Now, we understand why Buttigieg, Klobuchar, they're out trying to rally their base now to go ahead and get behind Joe Biden. I've already explained this. I'm going to explain it again because, sorry, Rush is still wrong about this. The party bosses know this election is over. Now, there's a few diehard true TB'er, true believers. Wow, Joe, it was massive what happened in the Carolinas. He could really take Donald Trump. No, Donald Trump will make mincemeat out of him, especially when they get into the whole Hunter Biden, Ukraine. It's the party bosses know. Joe has been loyal. He's going to forget all this next week anyway. He needs to take one for the team. They don't want Bernie Sanders being the face of the party. Everybody hates Michael Bloomberg. And again, he is condescending, he is arrogant, and it will just lead to an implosion and civil war within the Democratic Party. So they're going to let Joe B take one for the team. And that, as they say, is that. That said, what happened to Chris Matthews over at PMS NBC?
Let me start with my headline tonight. I'm retiring. This is the last hardball on MSNBC, and obviously, this isn't for lack of interest in politics. As you can tell, I've loved every minute of my 20 years as host of Hardball. Every morning I read the papers, and I'm gung-ho to get to work. Not many people have had this privilege. I love working with my producers and the discussions we have over how to report the news. And I love having this connection with you, the good people who watch. I've learned who you are, bumping into you on the sidewalk or waiting at an airport and saying hello. You're like me. I hear it from your kids and grandchildren who say, my dad loves you, or my grandmother loves you, or my husband watched it till the end. Well, after a conversation with MSNBC, I decided tonight will be my last hardball, so let me tell you why. The younger generations out there are ready to take the reins. We see them in politics, in the media, in fighting for their causes. They are improving the workplace. We're talking here about better standards than we grew up with, fair standards. A lot of it has to do with how we talk to each other. Compliments on a woman's appearance that some men, including me, might have once incorrectly thought were okay. We're never okay. Not then and certainly not today. And for making such comments in the past, I'm sorry. I'm very proud of the work I've done here.
Well, you know, he had a history of inappropriate comments and behavior with women, and therefore, no, wrong. He's out because he pointed out what Bernie Sanders is. That's exactly why Chris Matthews is out of there. And PMSNBC, they are the revolution. And if you are not willing to talk up the revolution, you are out. So much for freedom of speech. But then again, you can kiss all your other freedoms goodbye if by some chance Bernie Sanders gets in there. And you watch the media wrap themselves around Bernie Sanders if he becomes the nominee. Could they, in their visceral hatred of Donald Trump, even the most diehard Democrats, get behind Bernie just to get rid of Trump, not even realizing what they're doing to their own lives and their own futures? But hey, it's primary season. Let's have fun! Well, that's it for this rant. Thank you so much for watching. Hey, make sure you give us a big thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Pass the word along about this channel, what we do here. Help us to grow it. Thank you for all your help. And remember, it's Super Tuesday. Try to have a laugh out of this. Otherwise, it's just beyond sad that we've gotten to this state in this nation.